Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful evening with us on Live with Lloyd. I am your host, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. Do I have a great show this evening? Trust me, you're going to love this young lady, and for all the right reasons. Anyway, let me do this, get some things straight here. There we go. Hold on. Let me see this. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. Um, there's a reason why I have this young lady on for all the right reasons. And first of all, is the fact that what most people don't know when my parents, well, before I get started, let me bring on my sponsors, please. The show is sponsored by Manifest on Purpose, Miss Kimberly on YouTube. You should see it. I mean, the sister's great. That's all I can say. It ain't, don't take my word for it. Just check it out yourself. Also sponsored by also Jazz Aphrodite. Now, I don't know whether she knows it or not. I'm going to have her back on in April. Why? Because the books will be out in April. So I want her to show it on the screen so y'all can drool at the mouth, so y'all can order the books before they're all gone. And also King Simon, my good buddy. And he's going to be having an event in April too. And I'm going to be putting up the new flyer that he sent me. Also, my guest that was on yesterday, Monday, um, Dominic Holmes, he is having his class tomorrow. So it is not too late. The astrology series is at Mystic University. That's Mystic University. And if you go there, you can register and sign up. The brother is really brilliant. You know, he scares people, and he don't mean to scare people, but he's just forthright and honest, which is the best way to have it straight, no chaser. This is how I like it. So what happens is, before I get into that, let me tell you about today's forecast. It is Wednesday. It is the 13th of March of 2024. By the way, I do not, LWL, which is Live with Lloyd or Lloyd Strayhorn, will never DM you for money. Evidently, I got another one. And thank you very much for you viewers to kind of see things and flag it. Because I got another one. One was from the same identical site, but they was trying it another way. But instead of keep showing it to you, I'm just saying I don't do that. But the sun is in Pisces, the moon is in Taurus. It's 11 universal day. It's a 4 universal week, a 6 universal day. And Libras in Taurus, so those born on the 6th, like my guest is coming on in a minute, born on the 15th or the 24th of the month, this is your time. I got this from her website, Why Ashley, and I found out a couple of things. She's a mother. She's a serial entrepreneur, which means she kept on doing it until she got it right to get what she wants. She's a stylist, a YouTuber, a salon owner, and she's there in Southern California on Long Beach. And she's been in the field of beauty professionally since 2010 with a growing clientele. She caters to individuals looking to wear modern styles without jeopardizing their hair's integrity. Her skills doesn't stop there. Through the progressions of independent stylists to salon owners, she was led to share her experiences with other entrepreneurs via YouTube to drop gems that could help others. And I'm going to the bottom, close to the bottom. She not only provides beauty services, but a professional and intimate relationship built on trust and communications, sharing everything from life, business to her favorite products for your at-home maintenance. And you're invited to enjoy it. And in fact, you're invited to enjoy her in just, shall we say, a minute. Let me get this straight here. Let me get this out the way. All right, so I can introduce my beautiful guest. Her name is Ashley Brown. Ashley, how you doing, lady? Ho, ho, ho. I got you. Ashley, how we doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored and humbled. I'm a little bit nervous too.
Don't be. This is a good book. This is fine. One thing about me, I don't throw in trick questions. Now, let me tell you what happened, how I met this beautiful sister in California. She called me for a consultation. Every now and then, I try not to get in people's business, but every now and then I says, what do you do? And she went to break down that she was a professional hairstylist, this, that, and the other. Well, that resonated with me because very few people know that my parents, my father was a barber and my mother was a beautician. And she got her license from Apex Beauty School in Harlem on 135th Street, which is now where IHOP was located. It's ex IHOP now. I don't know, and they got a school right there, but that's where my mother got hers. So I've learned how to pay it. So my mother and dad told me how to pay attention to her hair. What I don't do now is say, "Is that your hair?"
Never do that.
Yeah, no. So you could tell it's a guy thing because a woman could say, "Yes, I got receipts." Let me ask you this. I'm kind of jumping ahead a bit. I understand wigs can cost into the thousands and thousands of dollars. Is that true?
It can be true.
For example, the average woman going down the, on the block, so to speak, she'll pay a couple of dollars, 20, maybe $100. But you got a Beyonce that'll pay about like $10,000 for a hairpiece. Is that true?
Absolutely. That's absolutely true.
What's the
So,
difference other than big bucks?
okay, so the difference is there's several differences. It's probably almost endless, but the number one thing that's going to make hair very expensive is if it comes from one donor and how they construct the strands on the weft of a weave. That's the first thing. Secondly, more than likely, Beyonce has a wig that is custom. It's probably ventilated, 100% ventilated, meaning if you took the wig off of her head and you put it inside out, it would just look like there's individual hairs that have been implanted into the unit, as opposed to most of us, the rest of us that's not Beyonce, will probably wear a wig that has a lace in the front that you can see, or lace just on the top center, and everything else is just tracks.
I've seen some where you turn when you turn it inside out, it has a kind of like a pattern there, and you put it on. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, that's what I would wear. I don't have Beyonce money. That's more than likely what I would wear unless I learn how to ventilate.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so I'm going to start from the beginning. How in the world did you get started in this, and how long have you been doing it? Although that says now you said professionally, that's a difference. Professionally
Right,
from 2010, but
right.
how long have you been doing it to lead up to even being professional since 2010? If that makes
I
sense.
think I started out like every other hairstylist, started doing hair at my house, but I started when I was probably like 12.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Okay. So, and then what made you decide to go further? People's comments or women saying, okay, I like it or like what you did, or what would encourage you?
Okay, so this might be a long answer. So
It's all right. Take your
to
time.
be completely honest, I grew up, I was raised by a single father. And so at a certain point, if I didn't know how to do my own hair, I was finna be going to school looking crazy. So I started learning on myself. And then I might have a friend who, she knows how to braid and I know how to braid, and we braid each other's hair. And then it went on from there. Then I started doing my family, and mainly, if I'm gonna be honest, growing up, I had very, very low self-esteem. And
Mm-hmm.
so a big part of my passion in doing hair is liking to see women feel great about themselves, right? Um, Never wanting a woman to feel how I felt when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the joy that I get out of it. That's why people are like, "Oh, what's the one style that you like to do the most?" But it's not necessarily a particular thing. It is the reaction of maybe someone who is not as excuse me, as confident as some others, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
the expression that I see when she sees herself and she looks great.
Well, let me ask you this. Now, you said you had low self-esteem. That don't
Yeah.
seem like it because you stuck out on your own. And then the one thing I read in your brief bio of why Ashley is that you said you were a serial entrepreneur.
Right.
Seem like bashful or uh, insecure people don't have those kinds of things to keep pressing and pressing. What were some of the other things you did that led to you from
Ugh.
being a serial entrepreneur to finally being a professional stylist?
Um, if I'm gonna be honest, I think that people misconstrue like being confident as a way and a means to go and do things, where a person can be maybe not confident or a person can be shy. I would characterize myself, even though outwardly people might not know it, but I'm actually shy. I'm just courageous. I'm
Oh,
not
I like
afraid.
that. I
Yeah,
like that.
I
Now, what
don't,
was,
make no mistake. I get shy, I'm nervous, but I'm like, just do it.
well, what were some of the other things you did since you said a serial entrepreneur? Did you try this and did you try that? And then you finally settled on saying, okay, I'm going to be a stylist and then take it to a professional level?
I started off, I've always been to a degree an entrepreneur, even as a kid. When I was young, I might go in the house and bake a cake and go outside and try to sell it to someone.
That's a
So
Capricorn
I've
trait.
always been that way. But I've worked. I used to work in medical billing. I've worked in insurance billing since I was like 18, and I just did hair on the side. But in terms of entrepreneurship, I actually had an online consignment store. So I would go to aftermarket warehouses and I would buy things for penny on the dollar, and then I would sell them. It would be small pieces of furniture. It might be shoes. I would find a lot of plus size clothes that were really cute that were from like Macy's or Target, and I would just sell them online.
That is cool. Not bad. Not bad for somebody with low self-esteem, young lady.
Right.
That's
I
all I can say. So, but now I think you said, did you say you have a daughter or a son?
have a daughter.
Now, is she kind of learning the same thing? Is she kind of interested in kind of following behind you? Because normally,
Absolutely not. We're night and day.
really,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah, we're night and day.
Now I gotta ask you questions that you will tell I'm a guy because I don't know.
Okay.
One thing you had was colors, braids, and sew in weaves.
Mm-hmm.
Colors mean, I guess, you highlight it, streak it. At one time, I know they used to use the word dye. They don't use I'm dyeing my hair anymore.
It's hair dye.
Yeah,
I use the word dye.
but I've heard it called a rinse.
Well,
Uh,
rinse is something different. So you have semi-permanent color, demi-permanent color, and permanent color.
can
So
you
when you're
break
talking
that
about a rinse is
down?
semi-permanent color.
In other words, it doesn't last. I take it.
Well, what it does is it coats outside of the hair strands and it never really leaves. They're all permanent to a degree, but it fades. So when you're saying it's a rinse, it rinses out because it fades, because it's not deeply penetrated into the hair shaft.
Okay, that's interesting. So, so now you said there's a rinse and then there's a deeper color. Does that mean when you put it in, it's more permanent and lasts longer? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And so,
Yes.
which one is that called?
Okay, so you have a range from semi-permanent to permanent, and in between is demi. So what demi does is there's a chemical reaction that lifts the hair follicle a little bit just to deposit. Whereas permanent color, it lifts the hair cuticle, and it extracts color, and then it also deposits color. So
Okay,
think
yeah,
of it like a palm tree. Have you seen
mhm,
the flaps on a palm tree?
yeah, yeah.
That's likened to a hair strand, and so those flaps will go up and come down with chemical application. So where with semi-permanent, it doesn't go up at all. It just coats the outside. And then with demi, it goes up just a little bit, enough only to deposit. And with permanent, it goes all the way up so it could take out and put in, and then it closes back.
Are there any cases where women say they have problems with this process or hair thinning or whatever the case is? Does that make sense?
So with anything, it could be good or bad depending on how you take care of it and how it's applied. So let's say, for example, um, a person has a very, very tight cuticle. So in order for it to even change color, it takes a lot to open it up. So for that person, they might be able to get their hair colored, but it may not get to the desired color that they want because it's such a tight cuticle. So that's why you have a lot of women with dark hair or coarse hair, where when we bleach our hair, it's kind of difficult to get it past a certain length. And then once you get it past that length, it can be kind of brittle. So for someone who has a real tight cuticle, It
Hmm.
might be problematic for that person. It may be problematic for a person who is on medication because their hair is already dry. And once you open up the cuticle, it's releasing, you're taking away from the structure of the hair. And a part of the structure of the hair is color, it's melanin.
Right, right, right.
Right.
Okay, that's interesting. And what about sewn in weaves?
Yeah, sewing weaves. What is
That's weaved
what
into
would you
your
like to know
hair.
about this?
It is your hair, and then a kind of a wig weaving into your hair too, or
Right.
something?
So that would be someone who is has their hair braided down into a base on their head, flat, and then you would sew into those braids. You would sew additional hair or tracks or weave, whatever you want to call it.
Now, what about braids?
Braids. There's so many different kinds, but braids is something that I wouldn't. Braids can be so many things, from a hairstyle to just art to culture. It's it's our culture. It's it's braids.
I
It's
know here
ours.
I know here in Harlem on 125th Street, a lot of the African women will be stopping women as they're walking by to get them to braid their hair. So it's really big here in New York. I don't know whether they
Yeah, it's big everywhere. And let me make sure that I clarify. When I say it's ours, I would say it's tribal peoples, because there's more tribal people than, that are not necessarily black people. So
Mhm.
it's a tribal thing. It's just tribal.
Is there, in your experience, is there, from since you described from colors to braids to sew-in weaves, is there, on the majority, when people come to see you in your clientele, do most people select sew-in weaves, or do they select braids, or do they select color, or it all depends? You know how sometimes you got, well, out of
They
10
like a
people,
certain
about,
specialty.
yeah, about 6 or 7 are going to get this, or 2 or 3 will only get that.
Most women get weaves. I do have a large braid clientele as well, but I would say the majority of my clients come to me because I I'm able to do a lot of different styles, where you might have a stylist that you go to and they're really good at weaves, but they can't braid, or someone that can only do ponytails or they only do this. But I always say it's a good and a bad thing that I don't have a specialty, because we should have a specialty, but my specialty is that I'm versatile. So my clients don't have to go everywhere for this or that. They just stay here.
But that makes a lot of sense to me. You
It
know?
has it has its ups and downs. There's some things that can be more proficient when you only do one thing.
It's interesting as a sidebar, like they have nail salons, right? And I overheard one lady talking one time, they were talking about how you have one lady, she just gave the nail salon person a fit. Do you ever have that in your experience too? That when so and so Sally comes in, you say, oh my goodness, this is going to be a tough day? Or are they mostly cooperative for the most part?
I would say that would be one in probably like 200 clients.
That's
Most
not
times,
bad.
no,
That's
yeah.
not bad.
Most times the people who go, like, I can't speak for a nail salon, because I don't think that um nail salons like the ones that we have in California, if I'm going to use for an example, you don't necessarily build the intimate relationship that you would with a hairstylist, that you're there and it's just kind of one-on-one time. Because by the time I'm done doing someone's hair, I probably know about their whole week, maybe their whole life, maybe their last boyfriend, their difficult pregnancy, all kind of stuff.
Right, so it's a more of an intimate sharing like barbers used
Yeah,
to do. At one time,
exactly.
if you want to know what was going on in the community, you go to a barber shop. And by the
Right.
time they cut your hair and shave you and get you looking good and stuff like that, you kind of
Yes,
know a whole lot that's going on in the neighborhood, I guess, versus
exactly.
I think that's very interesting. Now you have a couple of things that I wanna show because on your website you have some of your product lines, and can you explain some of these for people, well, like myself, I don't know, maybe for women they
Right.
already know what these things are.
So those are not my product line. I do plan on doing a product line, but these are just take home products. These are things that I recommend my clients to use to keep up things that I've done. So, for example, Let's say the foam lotion. When you have braids and they get frizzy, you're going to want to put foam lotion, maybe spray some hairspray on that, tie that down, and you wake up and your braids are back like
Now,
new.
which one is the foam lotion? Is it the one next to the satin braid bonnet?
Exactly.
Is that's the one in kind of like that's the first one, right? Detangler.
No, no. A detangler, um, let's say if a person has a weave and their weave is curly, that's something you
Uh-huh.
may want to spray on that to maintain the curls and keep it soft. But the foam lotion is kind of universal. It's good for so many different things, but it's actually the one with the leaves for the
Yeah.
background.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's basically, if anyone on here is old school, it's like Lotta Body. It's just basically Lotta Body. It's a setting lotion, and it can be used for anything from setting something, doing a roller set, smoothing, setting for like a short hairstyle, or just taking away flyaways.
Now I never heard that body what, but it's okay. What about at the bottom left where it says braids easy remover? That's to untangle
Right.
braids or make it easier to unloosen them.
Yes. So basically, when we take our braids out, depending on how long you've had them, sometimes there's a buildup at the root because of the product that you've used, from adding oil when people oil their scalp. And whether people realize it or not, there's dust everywhere. And so what happens is the dust settles and attaches itself to the oil right there in the product. And so,
Interesting.
yeah, it does. Like people will be surprised. I try to explain to people about, I'll explain in a second. But yeah, it's basically a mixture of like dust and things that have been in the air and the product that was used. And you have to comb that out. And it can be difficult depending on how long you've had your braids in.
Now, what about this one? This yellow, the eco. Who's he?
Okay, that's just hair gel.
Okay, okay, and the one next to it in the black. What's that?
And that is a ponytail spray. So when I'm doing people's ponytails and I'm using my wax, I spray it with that to basically make it stay in place and stay really hard so that it doesn't go out of shape.
It's so interesting. I'm glad you're here so we men can understand and appreciate what you got to go through to look normal.
Right. It costs a lot.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And to the jar to the far right at the bottom, next to the black jar, black
And that
bottle.
would be lace spray. So instead of people adding more and more and more glue, I just recommend that they just use the spray instead, so you don't have as much buildup when it's time to take it down.
Okay, then I want to just go to the next set that you offer. What is the one at the top left in blue? What's that about?
That's a foam lotion, but that one is a little softer. And so that one is better for short hairstyling. So if a person has short hairstyle, they might want to use that just to smooth down the sides.
Okay, and the one next to it.
So that's castor oil. And that actually comes, the one that I have in store, it actually has a sprayer on the top.
Uh-huh.
Um, and that's something I recommend people to spray on their braids.
And by spraying on the braids, what does that do?
So if you can think of a braid, right? People who braid would understand, but when
Mm-hmm.
you braid, you're pulling the hair like this basically all the way down. And where it's bending, it's more vulnerable to breakage. So a lot of times when you take your hair out, there's split ends up the shaft
I
of your
hear split
braids, up
ends.
the
Yeah.
strand of your braids. And so what that does is it softens it and it makes it more pliable, because if it's dry, it's gonna snap.
And I guess the others to the top right and the underneath, these are all your product lines.
Right.
Okay, so let's go with the one at the top right. That looks like a book bag or carry bag.
Yes.
Okay.
It just has the logo. This is one of my many, like I said, the entrepreneur in me, and anybody can do this. So this is something that I've created from Printful, which anyone could do it. You could do it, Lloyd. Any one of your clients can do it. Kids can do it. That is what you call a mock-up. And you can go onto a site like Printful and you add your logo to it, and they make it constructed. That way I don't have to have the inventory. and I just make whatever profit from the upsell of it. So they
Yeah,
might say, Ashley, we're going to charge you $20, and I might charge 25 for it and make $5 for a little bit of time.
right. So because I see you got a cup now. These now the bags to the bottom, uh, center, and to the right. What are those? Just carry bags to carry
Yeah,
products
they're
in?
just tote bags. I use mine for my laptop bag, and I love it. I'm so proud of my logo.
I know you are. I know you are. Oh, and listen, I was impressed with this. In other words, when people come to you, you ain't playing. Okay.
Absolutely not. I'm so proud of my website. I made that all by myself.
Yeah, because you got it whereby you kind of let them know that you as a deposit, a booking, an appointment time, changing services.
Mhm.
Children are extra. That's interesting. Wouldn't they have less hair, or are they more kind of like
No,
uh
that's not what it really says. It says children slash extras.
I see
So
that now.
basically, when you come to your appointment, you cannot bring other people here. It's not going to be a
A
backyard
babysitting.
barbecue. Yeah, it's just me and you.
You know
And
what?
that's my daughter up there at the top. That's my baby.
Oh, this is your daughter at the top?
Yeah,
I thought that was you, but now I see why she looks like you.
yeah, that's my baby.
That is good. That's interesting. So let me ask you, now it's also interesting. I was looking at too in there, you have like severing business ties. What does that mean? Have you ever had to do that, my dear?
Absolutely.
Now, what do you mean when you say severing business ties? Enough is enough. Is that the case?
Yes. And actually, it's more about a person setting up a client to have you know, their best experience that they can have. And typically, you don't have to sever the business tie because most clients will be drawn to people who have a similar personality to them. And if you've
Mhm.
ever gone into a salon, if you have a very like flamboyant stylist, most of the clients have the same kind of personality. If you have kind of like a more humble, quiet, um, stylist, the clients are going to typically be that way.
That's
However, sometimes,
interesting. That's very
yeah,
interesting.
because that's how you bond. You bond because you guys have things in common, and typically personality is the biggest thing. Yeah.
That lead me to ask a question like, what are some of the do's and don'ts for women trying to find a salon or a person, a professional stylist like yourself that they can connect with? What do they do? Do they normally hear it through a reference, word of mouth? Somebody says, girl, you need to go and try this one because, Ashley Brown is the best. How does it work?
Word of mouth is always the best and the most effective way of advertising because you're basically pre vetted. So that's always the best. You want your clients to refer you to other people. But for me, I have that in addition to I've done a pretty good job of making several profiles online. So my algorithm online might be high. I might come up higher in a search engine because I have
Hmm.
so many different profiles from Google to Yelp to my website to Style Seat to if you are a stylist and you want to attract more clients online, you need to make as many profiles as you can for things that have to do with what you're doing.
So now, are there any do's and don'ts that women should know when they go? And about yourself, I would
Mhm.
imagine before you set up your own, you yourself had to go to a stylist or to get your hair done.
Yeah.
No.
Um, I wouldn't say there's many do's and don'ts. I always say this you have to do things that are based on you and your lifestyle, even down to the hairstyles that you get. Think about your lifestyle. And what we do, what women do a lot of the times is we're on social media and we see other women, we see celebrities, and we think in our mind, oh, I really like the way this particular celebrity wears their hair. But we don't think in our minds that no, we're seeing them working. That's a costume. and we want to look like how they look at work every day. So that's the first thing. Think about you and your
That's
lifestyle
interesting.
when you're choosing the hairstyles that you want. And then when it comes down to the hairstylist that you want, I might get beat up for this, but this is just me being honest. You might have a very well sought out stylist that everyone wants to go to. And if you are driving, or let's say you have to ride a bike to go see the stylist that is about to leave in a Maybach, that's not your stylist. If you want to go there, by all means go. And it's the same thing, you know, if let's say, for example, for the stylist, I would know if I'm doing all these people's hair and I'm still driving my Corolla, which I have in love, but
Mhm.
my clients are all coming and they're in Rolls Royces. I would think, you know what? I might need to go up on my prices because my prices are so low that I'm staying here and they're growing there, and
That
vice versa.
makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Mhm.
How you price structure your pricing for your services.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just in terms of compatibility with a stylist, because when it boils down to it, you want to be able to relate to the person that is doing your hair. And I also want to be able to relate to the person that's sitting in my chair, because if you're coming every 2 weeks for 10, 20 years and we're not talking, we're not interacting, it's a very awkward 2, 3, 4, 5 hours that we're spending with each other every 2 weeks for 20 years.
That's, I was going to ask you one. On average, what should the average woman walking into an average beauty salon such as yours spend? And also, what is the time? Because it seems like it takes all day for y'all to get it together. It's a guy thing. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, no, for sure. Taking all day can be the difference of what style you're selecting. So there are some times when you're going to be there all day. But you ask me that question again. How much time should they spend on average?
Yeah, in other words, what's the so when a customer walks into your store,
Mhm.
okay, and you sit them down from 9 o'clock to about when 2 or 3. So that means if you're spending all those hours, you can only see maybe up to about 4 or 5 clientels in one day.
Right. So me spending, okay, I price my styles or based on time, what they charge, the median price for that service in the area, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So even if I'm doing, let's say, 4 clients and it took me 8 hours, and I'm doing one client and it took me 8 hours, what I make and take home shouldn't be far off. So it just took me 4 clients to do it instead of one client to do it, because it still took me the 8 hours. And in terms of a client coming in, if let's say I have basic hairstyles, so basic hairstyles are thermal, they're ponytails, they're maybe a couple cornrows, those things should at on average take 2 hours. And my clients typically are in and out in 2 to 3 hours for basic hairstyles. I don't work with an assistant. It's just me and them.
So that means the most on a busy. Normally the weekends are busy, like a Saturday or maybe sometimes Sunday. It all depends. So that means at the most, if that's the case, you can see up to about 6 to 8. But wouldn't you be tired at the end of the day?
That's that's probably I probably, let me see, on busy days I could work straight 12 hours, which is not good. It's not good, but I do.
So if you're working about 12 hours, that means you can see up to about maybe 8 to 10 people, maybe.
Hmm, probably not. I would say on average, I probably at most might see 6 clients in a day. At most.
Well, I tell you, I honor you, Ashley Brown, because it's we men take a lot for granted. See, we just get in, get a haircut, shave,
Right.
mustache, beard, whatever, and we out. That's it.
Well, now y'all getting weaves too now on the beard and the
Ho ho. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. There's a lot of men who get beard extensions. They get hair extensions now. The ones who are,
Really?
when the ceiling is missing.
Okay, I gotta go out more often. All righty.
You would
Okay.
never do that, Lloyd.
No, you could tell how foreign it is to me. I didn't know men would get
Yeah, you
beat.
would never do it.
Yeah, that's I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that's interesting. That's all.
Yeah, I think I can speak for most ladies when I say if you missing up here, we just prefer you just be all bald. Just cut it all off and let it go.
Why is that you think with women?
Yeah, just Montel it up. It's I just, even though it is a double standard because we wear them, right?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of associated with something that would be considered feminine. And so I would prefer that my man is not wearing, a man weave. But
Yeah. And
if it at the end of the day, if that does something for how he feels about himself, then by all means wear it.
yeah, but I guess as individuals, we all got preferences of the people we want to date or deal with, though.
Right.
And we're
Right.
definitely entitled to that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Boy,
Yeah.
a lot to learn. I didn't know that. I'm glad you told me. Um, I
Yep.
would
Check
probably,
your friends. Check your friends now. When you out and you see it lifting a little bit, you'd be like, you're caught. You're caught.
I don't mean to laugh, and believe me, I'm not making fun. It's just that
Right. It's out
that's all
there.
new to me. That's all
Yeah.
new to me. So, listen, I want to thank you. By the way, one thing you had here, you had faux locks, virgin hair, braid hair, and crochet hair and wigs.
Hmm.
You wanna touch on that a second? These were the ones you said you prefer on Amazon, whatever that means.
Right. So these are items that I might have used on another client or myself. And so I just recommend for clients who don't know where to start, they don't know what to get, they can go to my Amazon favorites, um, and go there and see what it is that I use or what I prefer.
Or what they feel fits for them in terms of what
Right.
kind of
It's
look.
just basically a recommendation. Like if you're unsure of what to get, you can go here and see things that I've used and that I think work well.
Well, you see at the bottom of the screen is my guest, Ashley Brown. She is a pro stylist extraordinaire, a consultant. Her IG is Ashley underscore Brown underscore pro underscore stylist, and her site is Ashley Brown pro stylist.com. And her Cash App now. Let me say this, folks. You know how I feel. Ashley, if you've listened closely to her story, she's been doing this since she was 12 years old. She's been in various phases of entrepreneurship, and now since 2010 has gone on her own. It takes a lot. When did you establish your own business? I guess you got your own salon, because I've known
Right.
people that actually are mobile. They actually will travel to the person's house
Mhm.
and do their hair.
Right, right, right.
But you
Um,
have a brick and mortar situation, right?
yes, yes, I do. I started my salon in 2020. So I started during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And because that was, I want to say that was like the first time since I've been alive that they made it so easy for people of color to qualify for business loans. It was hard before to qualify for a business loan, and they were just giving them away. And I just stepped out on faith. And I went to the lady whose salon I was working at, told her what I wanted to do. She said, go for the gusto. And I did. Shout
That's
out to you,
nice.
Miss Yvette.
That's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice. That's nice. And so that's what got you on your way.
Yes, it did. Yeah, it did. It just, the biggest part of doing anything, I don't care what it is, whether it's hair, I don't care what you feel like you have and you don't have. The biggest thing is just starting. That is the hardest part. And once you can get past the starting, everything else is learning from there.
When you wanted to do this, were there any doubters that says, "Girl, you can't do this"? And if I was you, I'd just go
Of
get me a
course.
9 to 5 job or whatever the case is.
There absolutely there was. There's countless amounts of circumstances that will make you want to go back and work for someone because there's security in that. Um, I actually got advice from two stylists, Lily Frierson and Felicia Leatherwood, on a panel at a hair show. And I remember asking them, like, I feel like I can't build my clientele. I work and I have responsibilities. And it was just like the most simple advice. It's like it never dawned on me. And she said, save some money. She told me to save some money and then quit your job. And I did. I pulled my 401k, which at the time wasn't a lot of money, probably was like $5,000. And I
Hmm.
saved $5,000. And I said, if this $10,000 don't bridge this gap, I'm going to go back and work for someone. And I never did.
And you stepped out on faith, and that was it.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
quit my job and I've never turned back.
not bad for somebody that started out with low self-esteem. Okay,
Right.
and look
Right.
at you now. You know,
Right.
I think it's really really great. And one more thing is, uh, I think you said you once started this. It's a YouTube channel, and you're going to get back to starting it because I was reading that you put a lot of emphasis into it. You know, sharing valuable information that people can use, certain jewels or gems, as you said, in the sharing
Right.
process.
And that is something that I had planned on doing, and I've been basically afraid of doing it. This is actually my first time on YouTube. I've never been on YouTube before. And so this is actually giving me the courage to go ahead and make videos. I'm constantly showing people things and sharing information. I host things at my salon, but I just never got on YouTube and actually did any videos. But for this reason that I did this, I am going to go ahead and make sure that I,
Well, I'm going to hold you to it, young lady. So you,
yes, hold me to it.
okay, that's what we're going to do. All right.
Hold me
And
to it.
what I want to do is invite you back on at some point later on to see how you do, maybe over the summer, and see how you do.
Right,
Maybe by that time, you actually have your own YouTube channel so you can share with women.
right.
I'm not a woman, so I probably didn't ask the question that most women want to know. But I think it's a fresh thing because guys don't know these things. We just assume. Like I'm just finding out guys now into extensions of hair pieces and beards and stuff like that. It was all new to me.
I
So it,
think people just see that there's options out there and we don't have to be stuck in things that we are not comfortable with about ourselves. And so it's more accessible. So people do it more. It's more accessible and it's more acceptable.
you know what? Let me go to the comments in case a couple of people had questions about
Okay.
it. Um, let me see something here. Okay, let's see. Let me go back to the top. And I have so many nice viewers, man. I am so blessed. All the people are very nice, very supportive. Okay, so let's see. And this person here, Melanated Brown, I got to say, I shade her every day. She's the one that kicks off the show. Melanated Brown, thank you so much. Let me see something. And what I'm going to do is she's going to go off, and then I'm going to take a little time. I'm going to read some people's birthdays before I get off.
Okay.
um, and I got to say hi to the Stephen and Carol Williams family in Chicago. They have. I'm just very blessed. Okay, hold on. Let me see something that maybe a woman who, in listening to this, may have had a response or had a question, and if not, I'll go right to them. But see, so far, I told you this would be easy, right? No problem.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah. I'm not okay. Okay, like B. Allen, she says, Miss Ashley Brown, thank you for sharing your story. You know
And
what I'm
thank you for
saying?
tuning in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because this is because there could be somebody probably sitting right home right now, listening to this, thinking, should I, should I not, should I, and listening to your story, make them make a decision that moves them forward. It really changed their whole life. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I hope it does.
And I think that that is good. Um, of course, another Capricorn in the house, like you. Uh,
You
and
know, we think we're the best sign that there is.
well, I got to be
Not
Capricorn.
well.
No, Capricorns are great. You know what? That's what I found though. Is every sign brings to the table of life their own uniqueness. Now, this JZS, she says, this is educational and funny tonight from a woman's perspective. Keep it up, Lloyd. She is so knowledgeable. I shade to you. Shade to
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's why she's on. And that's why her thing is professional. Um, she says, this one, Fire Goddess says, that is so true. My stylist and I had the same temperament. So, in other words, you gotta, so in other words, for the women, they try to find a stylist that they can be on the same page with temperamentally.
Right. You want someone that you can trust.
Okay. Now, Dustin says that must be empowering to have your own clientele and control your financial life doing something you're passionate about. That's awesome. Good on you, Ashley. Amen
Thank
on
you.
that one. See?
Amen. Best feeling ever.
Yeah.
Even on my brokest day, I'm still happy to come to work.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
people said, is there a open form after that? Yes, it is. I didn't know. I didn't know how long I would keep Ashley on. I didn't know whether she would be shy enough. And she did say this is a first for her. And I told her that, the one thing when you're blessed with nice parents, they teach you how to deal with people.
Hmm.
And for me, it's not about getting you on the show, ask you tricky questions, making you look uncomfortable or silly. When you're a guest, you're supposed to be treated as a guest.
Thank
That's
you.
that, but that's how I was raised. So anyway, so I told you it would be easy. Um, and this Miss MR says, I support you, sis, was just scrolling by, but I'm so thankful I heard your story. You are an inspiration, wishing you success and abundance. See, that's what I'm saying. I have a very
Thank
support
you.
Alive with Lloyd family. Yes, I am going to open up the phones in just a minute, but I wanted to make sure. Even my daughter says, awesome how you started your business. And that's my daughter. Okay. So I
Thank
think that's
you.
good. And let's see. Uh, okay. Um, so I'm gonna. So this is it. So listen, at the bottom of the screen, all right, you see all of her information. Please take note of it. If you go to her website, you'll get more information about it. I took some screenshots from her uh, website so you can see. But for those of you in Long Beach, California, um, do you have somebody coming from nearby states, like maybe
I
Nevada?
do. I actually have a client who comes routinely from Boston, and
Oh, the
another one from
Boston?
Nevada.
That's across the other side of the map.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I
Uh,
think I have one from Colorado too. Yeah.
well, that's not a walk around the corner either. Okay.
No.
All right. Well, anyway, Ashley, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
thank you, thank you. This was fun. This was very educational for me.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm so honored that you brought me on.
Listen, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. And it just so happens that I rarely do. I says, what do you do? And when you talked about your experience, I says, that sounds interesting. And because the overwhelming majority of my clientels, or my viewers, I should say, are women, and even my clientels are women, I just thought it would be kind of nice. So, I mean, sure, women know about the hair and other things, but there's always something they can learn, especially from
Right.
a professional stylist like yourself.
Right. And they can feel free to reach out as well, like on Instagram if they have questions. And we can set something up if they want to ask about their hair or what they can do for their hair. They're welcome to do that as well.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say thank you very, very much for joining us. I am going to have your screen running at the bottom so everybody knows how to get in touch with you. And I'm going to do just a couple of readings to keep people happy. And thank you very, very much. And much love to you,
Thank you,
young lady.
Lloyd.
And you take good
Much
care.
blessings to
And
you
if
too as
ever
well.
I'm in Long Beach, because I heard of Long Beach, I think Tupac had mentioned Long Beach and Dr.
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, I knew one of them went to Long Beach. I say, okay, so I'll go out to Long Beach whenever I'm out there. Is Long
Okay.
Beach part of California or LA? Is that all a part of it? Or is
It's
it
in LA County.
all right? So it's like a section like Manhattan. Then you got Harlem, you got this section, you got
Exactly.
okay, got you. Okay, now understood.
Exactly.
Well, if I ever come to LA, I might knock on your door. You know what I'm saying? What's up?
That would make
Okay.
me so happy.
Ashley, thank you so much and much success for you. And anytime
Thank
you'd
you.
like to come back, I'm very serious. It would be an honor and a pleasure. And maybe during the summer, and
Mhm.
you can maybe some other things are happening. But I'll tell you this before you go: you happen to be in a romance and finance cycle this year. And what that means is this: there are three doors. I always explain to a woman going through that. So I'm going to start the reading off with you. Then I'm going to go to other people too. Door number one: if you're starting this year and there hasn't been anyone in your mix romantically or in that way, all of that's going to change before the year is over. Door number two: let's say you do have somebody. And in this relationship, as you begin to listen in conversation, it sounds like yo, boo, let's date more exclusively or whatever the case is. I would expect that to move to the next level. However, door number three: if you've been in a relationship and in that relationship, someone has been working your nerves, I would say by summertime, it's going to be like time for a vacation. So only you know what door you're about to knock on. So that's all I'm saying. It's
Okay.
going to be a fun year, and
I
it's going to
received
be,
that.
yes, it's going to be a money year, moving into a home, rearranging your home. This is going to be a great year for you because not only does it favor Capricorns, which is your sign, but numerically you're in a sixth personal year and you were born on the sixth. So that's why I call this the romance, finance cycle: births, marriages, pregnancy, separation, divorce, moving into a home, moving out of a home. You should wear more blue, since six rules blue. That's the lucky color for interviews and dates and other things like that. And your key numbers are the 6, 8, and 3, which you know, by the way. But anyway, anytime you need an update, call a brother. Okay. It's
I
like that.
will.
Thanks, Ashley. I thank you
Thank you.
so much. All righty.
Take
Okay.
care.
Thank you. And that was Sister Ashley Brown. I'm going to keep her information running at the bottom of the screen. I am going to take some calls. In fact, this one is Goddess Original, and she is born on the 3rd of March. So she is a water sign with a fire number.
That's
And
my
what
dad.
that means that this is a person that is very kind of like ambitious, very creative, off to a good start. Person that's very entertaining, expressive, very well liked for the most part, but always want to do something with her life. She is in a 5 personal year, and happy belated birthday that took place about 2 weeks ago. Um, and so this is a life turning event for her. So although she wants to turn her life around, this is the year to do that. All right. So let me go by and let me start this way. Okay. Um, Alex, Tom, thank you so much, buddy. You didn't give a birthday, but much appreciated to you. If I see your birthday, I will definitely do that. And as you see, my girl Empress Rail, she got all the information here for you too. You'll see it at the bottom of the screen, but also you'll see it right there too. Okay. Yes, this person says, hi, can you speak on a personal year? I'm 729, which means I'm in a 8 personal year. That is absolutely correct. You got that correct. Um, does the personal year start on my birthday this year, or it's already started? Okay. There are two schools of thought. My students, such as Jazz Aphrodite, such as Brandon Smith, others, they say you wait until your birthday. But when I do a chart, if I was to do a computerized chart, they would have started with your birthday now. So to me, you're in an 8 personal year. And here's how you can tell. In January, you were in a 9 personal month because 8 plus 1 is 9. So that means you might have ended something that was it kind of caused some debt, kind of caused some expenses, terminating things, because this whole year in and of itself has to do with finances and relationships. So in February, because 8 plus the second calendar month is a 10 or 1. That means something new, a raise or promotion, or something that kind of gave you a clue that something is going to come that's going to improve your financial standing. Being in an 8 personal year, if I look at March, 8 plus 3, which is March, adds to 11. So that means this should be a very visionary type of role for you, that you got insight, that you're coming up with these great ideas. You got things that you can't explain, but all of a sudden in thought or whatever, it comes to your mind that, okay, maybe I can do this or that. And it also means changes at the workplace, changes around the home, maybe rearranging things, and also changes in relationships too, whether it's makeups or breakups or whatever the case is. And then in April, it means since you'll be 8, your personal year added to the fourth calendar month is a 12. It means things opening up. But since it's a 12, it means beware of not letting people take advantage of you. So I'm saying you're in an 8 personal year. Others got their own thoughts. In fact, I'm going to have a panel of a round table panel, seriously, of my students who do this, and we'll find out. We'll get feedback. But your numbers, regardless of whether you're in an 8 personal year now, or they would say you're still in a 7 personal year, because if you're still in a 7 personal year, as my new age students say, that means that this year you are still in a soul searching odyssey. So that means in January, you could have soul search about your finances. In February, you could have soul search about what you need to let go or what you wanted to manifest on purpose. And this month of March, it means that you are thinking of thoughts of how and which direction you wish to go. So it all depends on which sounds closer to you. But I've been doing this so long. But, the beauty of this is I'm always open to kind of learn. I don't know everything. If I knew everything, I think life would be boring. You know what I'm saying? And anytime you know somebody who think they know everything, they are boring. They just fronting. Okay, trust me on this. Anyway, this is Ahmad Adenel. I'm not gonna mess up your last name. Okay. Anyway, can you offer me some insight? My first name is Aman, and they are born on 6/29/1999. Look at all those nines running through your name. Okay. I mean, through your birthday. So you are, it's interesting. You're born in the sign of Cancer. You're born on the 29th day. 2 plus 9 is 11, and 1 plus 1 is 2. That rules the sign of Cancer. So your birth number is exactly in the house in which it is born. See, because each number around the month has its own natural place. So in your case, your 2 is in the natural home of Cancer. The last person I read this born on the 29th, just before you, they're on the 29th, but theirs is in the sign of Leo. Now, Leo happens to be friendly because Leo is ruled by the moon, and Leo is ruled by the sun, and the number 2 is ruled by the moon. So we have this sun moon relationship. But in your case, you are a moon number in a moon sign. So that means super sensitive, super perceptive, and it means you would do well in computers and technology, the mechanical, mathematical sciences, engineering, things of that nature. Tells me very detailed. You're probably very finicky and fussy about your eating habits and dietary laws. It also tells me, too, with all those nines running through your birthday, you got 4 nines running behind that you're not, by no stretch of the mean, a passive kind of Cancer. I would expect you to be a little bit more assertive, a little bit more daring, a little bit more innovative, a little bit more determined to carry out your own fate, your own destiny, to determine what is in your best interest. But regardless, your key numbers are always the 2, 7, and 6, and Mondays and Fridays are always your best days without exceptions. Okay. This is Naisha Lewis. She is March the 9th. So she's a water sign with a fire number. So she happens to be in what is called a 2 personal year, or it could be an 11. Let me do something right quick to see properly, because if she's in a 2, let me see that 60. No, you're not in a 2 personal year. You're in a master number 11 personal year. So that's a totally different ball game. Now, 2s and 9s are normally in direct opposition to each other, first of all. However, since your master number is 11, which is composed of 2 ones, and ones are fire numbers, and you're born under a fire number, that means that this should be a very assertive, productive year for you in terms of making changes in the way you want to, changes with relationships in the way you want to, rearranging your home. And definitely there have been some changes since late September, October of last year around the workplace, all depending. But I can tell you this, you are feisty, you are fiery, you are kind of like know people wherever you go, and people know you speak your truth. So that's the kind of Pisces you are. And in fact, your lucky numbers are the 9, 3, and 6. And Nikola Tesla, the famous inventor, says those who understand the 3, 6, and 9 understand the universe. And you, my dear, possess all 3. Thanks, Naisha. This is Dustin. Dustin, thank you so much for this. Just purchased a book too. Recently, we awakened to a spiritual path. His birthday, Dustin's birthday, is March the 10th of 1994. Yes, you can get a read. And again, thanks for the donation. First of all, you are just like the young lady I just read, a water sign, but with a fire number. And so what that means, Pisces is known as the psychic sign in numerology. And then the number one is ruled by element of fire. So you are the kind of person that is more proactive, more energetic, more speaking your truth. You know, the person that the famous person who was a famous singer, um, and also a activist was Harry Belafonte. He was I think he was born on the 1st of March though, but the principles are the same, that you will always be about the business of getting and handling your own business. And in fact, happy belated birthday, because you are now officially in a 3 personal year. And since your key numbers are the 1, 4, and 3, that means this year your world is going to expand, my friend. This year, Dustin, this is the thing where you bring your fruit to harvest, to market. Okay. This is the year where, like 2 years ago, you planted your seeds. Last year, you had to wait and let time develop. And now you're ready to bring the fruits of your labors before the public in some way. So this is going to be an amazing year, like it was back in 2015, back in 2006. Those years should have been productive. The difference of this time around being older, of course, wiser, more experienced, more seasoned, and you don't take orders well either. So if you thought about being a lawyer or a doctor or a scientist or entrepreneur, a manager or a supervisor, you are cut out to do just that. Your key or lucky numbers, by the way, are the 1, the 4, and the 3. Your best days are always on a Sunday, a Tuesday, and tomorrow, which is Thursday. Those are always your lucky days. Okay. And all I'm saying, and by the way, you also, not only is the cycle you're in considered the good luck cycle, it's the cycle of prosperity too, which means that I would expect your financial picture to really grow before this year is over. All righty. And thanks so much for the donation. Much appreciated. Okay. Um, Here we have another 9, Miss Sylvia D. All righty. So that tells me she don't play either. Now, it's not that 9s are tough. 9s, see, 9 is ruled by fire. She has a different type of 9, where the first lady before I read, Dustin, was born on the 9th of March. That's interesting because they only born a day apart. But she's born on the 18th. And once you get past the 9 in the tarot, the double numbers 10, 11, 12, 13, and up until 31 have their own meaning. Well, 18 is called the power of mediumship, that this sister has the ability to go in and out of the visible and invisible world. In fact, King Tut came out of the 18th dynasty. Um, um, uh, Edgar Casey, the sleeping prophet, and he's wrote about, they got about 20 books on this book, man, or more, of how he would go into a trance. But he exhibited that going in and out of the visible and invisible world, which is kind of magical. And it's somewhat like the physical world working against the spiritual side of man's nature. In other words, dealing with the finances of spiritual, of paying bills and all that stuff, and yet want to exercise that spiritual side of you. But it tells me you're feisty, you're a fighter, you have a good opinion of yourself. You get along better with men than you do women, to be very honest, and very inspirational and motivational. And your lucky numbers are the 9, the 5, and the 6. And your best days are always on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and a Friday, in that order. And thank you so, so much. Oh, and thanks for liking the app too. I still got some bugs in it, but it's a work in progress, and it's far, far along much better now. And thanks for that too. I really appreciate that. Okay. Okay. This is case. It says, thanks, Lloyd. Just to validate what you said about my 8 personal year, my longtime boss was laid off this January, and they put me in her spot. I almost died of heartbreak. It literally felt like I died or something. I think this person I just read earlier about the year they're going into. And Aman said, thank you. And sir, thank you very, very much too. Okay. This is Cindy Charmaine. She is August the 1st. Thank you so much. Now, Cindy, you're a fire sign with a fire number. You know what that tells me? You don't play. So, you know how sometimes we brothers talk all this big talk? Your thing is, okay, but what you going to do about it? Let's say I said, boo, I got this jet, private jet. Your thing is, well, we need to go to Teterboro Airport. That's here in the New York area, in Jersey, right? We need to go to Teterboro Airport, and we need to get up in that puppy so I can fly over my neighbor's house and say, girl, I just passed your house. So what I'm saying is, so for guys who are going to deal with a sister like this, she don't play. She will call you out on it. In fact, young lady Cindy, you need to have your own business at some point. Taking orders has never been your destiny, never been your value. And what's so amazing is your month that you born tells me you started off attracting much older men up into your 20s. And then around about 26, 27, from that moment on, all of a sudden they get younger. So life has put a reverse thing on you. Old when you were young, and young as you've gotten older. So I'm saying you kind of having the best of both worlds. And plus, you got experience now that you didn't have when you were younger. So you can take all that old experience that you gathered and get it into this one. And I say you should be having a ball because you happen to be in an 8 personal year. So this is a money year. This is a pregnancy year. And again, I love to say that word because then you women say, how do you spell it? And it's not that, because don't forget, in numerology, numbers also speak in symbolic terms too. And so when I say pregnancy cycle, giving birth to ideas and enterprise and businesses and goals and objectives and things of that nature that you want to manifest with a purpose. So these are the kinds of things that are very, very important. So it's going to be a very good year, Leo. In fact, you would be my new best friend looking at your situation. Okay, this is Selena, born July the 7th. Water sign with a water number. Perfect. Your number is exactly in the house of where it belongs, just like Cindy's. The number one rules the sign of Leo, is sitting in her house of Leo. That's why she's very dynamic. Well, you are in your own way, but a way that is expressed through emotional expressions. Seven also indicates very individualistic type of personality. Got your way of how you see and look and assess things. Sevens go down the rabbit hole because it is God's number, the number of wisdom and research and spirituality and new age things and things of that nature. So I know that when somebody is saying something to you, you really got to figure out why are you saying what you're saying. But it also indicates you have what is called a strongly marked individuality, which means you like to think for yourself too. And this year, since I'm looking at you in a 4 personal year now, people would say, my new school students will say that you're not in your 4 personal year yet. You're still in your 3, which means very active, very energetic, proactive, but looking at things. 5, I would say you're in a 4 personal year right now. So that means you got to lay the cornerstone, the foundation, the brick and mortars to what you plan to do, and you'll find that you will do very well. And in a 4 cycle, a lot of people sometimes find it challenging because it means you got to put in the effort, you got to put in the work. But here is the beauty about that principle: what you put into it is what you get out. So if you think you're going to escape all this year in a 4 cycle year, you will find that this time next year, you will have nothing to show for what you've done. But if you put in the time, put in the effort, put in the energy, put your shoulders to the wheels and work up that sweat and do what you got to do, you will be equally compensated in return. And if you can understand that, no one should ever fear the 4 cycle year. It's what you put in is what you get back. So nothing in, nothing back, nothing out. So that's how that works. But your key numbers are 7, 2, and 6. And since you got all psychic numbers, you should follow your intuition to the nth degree. You don't care what anybody says. All right. There's Lakin. This January the 5th of 2000. All righty. So happy belated birthday. So there's no question you happen to be in a 5 personal year. This year rules Capricorn, which is your sign. The nice thing about it is the personal year cycle. And for those who may be new at this, you take the month and day you're born, but instead of taking the year, in this case 2000, you add 2024. So when I took January the 5th of 2024, you are in a 5 personal year. And since you were born on the 5th and you're in a 5 personal year, this is a double lineup. So astrologically, it rules your sign, and numerically, you're going through your yearly cycle of the 5. And that always denotes change for the better. It means a very different, a lot of variety about the way you do things, a lot of flexibility, the very adaptable, adjustable, versatile, things like that. And so this is going to be an exciting year for you. And in fact, you're in a major. Now, March is one of your stress numbers. And since you're in an 8-month for March, it simply means you got to watch your dollars. So, fives like to live for the moment, like threes. Threes and fives, they got that in common. Although they're oppositional to a degree, they live in the moment. Today is today. Tomorrow, we have no guarantee about tomorrow. So, in that sense, but yet, you cannot take that attitude this month about your finances, since March is one of your challenging months. All righty. So if you want to keep some dollars in your pocket, it just means being a little mindful. All righty. Okay. Dustin says, spot on. Thanks, Dustin. I see you high November 27th. All right, this is a fire sign with a fire number. And what I'm looking at being that case, this person is in a one personal year. Now, my new school students will say, no, you're still in a nine, and you'll be in a nine until November. But I've been doing this so long, I'm going to stick with what I know at this point. And it's not that I don't believe my students. The beautiful part about there's always something to learn in any respective craft you're in. But being in a one personal year, it means now is the time for you to step out on faith, my friend. Especially being a nine personal year, I mean a fire number with a fire sign. And fire represents that where they're more proactive. They take the initiative. They don't wait around and they make things happen. That's the difference with a fire energy. And with you being in a one, which is a fire, because don't forget, each number rules the element. Since you're in a one personal year, one rules fire. That means so you got a fire energy with a fire sign and a fire number. So you literally have no excuse not to do something on a grand scale for yourself. And what's so important is this is the year that you leave the seeds of what you want to get done. So what I'm saying is the seed you plant will last you for the next 9 years. So you must plan very, very carefully. Now, and you can't wait around, because if you fail to do so, you won't get this chance again until 2033. And if you can wait that long, you definitely know something I don't know. So take charge of your life. Do what's in your best interest. It's not what the family wants, the kids want, the folks want, the parents want, the neighbors, all them people. Is what you want for yourself. I see you. Okay, that's it. Now I'll rest my case with that one. All righty. Thanks, Sydney Charmaine. Wow, I think I just read you too. Did I do that? I think I did, Cindy. I think I did. Please, I hope I did. Um, I'm sure I did read Cindy. Okay, and if not, I'll. Yes, I did. I did read her. Yes, thanks for the donation. She's August the 1st. That's the one. She don't play. I'm telling you. So, guys, if you're fooling around with Cindy, you get your feelings hurt because she keeps it real. And by the way, being honest with number one women is very important. Here's what I mean. If you say something, okay, I read her. Okay, you say something. Okay, thanks for the reading. Okay, I got that. Um, okay. This is B Diamond. Her name is Brenda Lee. She's a Capricorn. Yay, born on January the 20th. So here's what's up for you, B Diamond 369. You are a Capricorn, so that's good. You happen to be in a two personal year too. So you, like one of the viewers just a couple of readings before then, happens to be where the year favors your sign and the numerical cycle you're going through favors your number at the same time too. This is very, very rare to have both your sign and your number going at the same time. It's almost like you have no excuse not to get a lot of mileage out of this year in some way, shape, or form. Two, in your case, well, Capricorns are hard workers anyway. Everybody knows the Capricorns are the drivers, the movers, and the shakers too. But in this way, since you were born on the 20th, that tells me you do it in a way that's patient, considerate, kind, and normally with two people born on the 20th, which is called the awakening, because the picture symbol in the 20th card of the tarot deck called the awakening is a symbol of a man, a woman, and a child with their hands clasped in prayer, kind of looking to the heavens, getting ready to take things to a higher level. So this year, you're going to really be raising people's consciousness. And I found in my experience that people in a two tend to do well in areas connected with food or their dietary laws, and finicky or fussy about it. They tend to do well in computers. So you would do well as an IT person, an engineer, the mechanical, mathematical sciences, things like that. And yet on the service side of the coin, you would do well, such as a psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist, social worker, teacher, nurse, counselor, something. But people are always at you for advice anyway. But your key numbers are always the 2, 7, and 8. And Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays are your best days. All right. Now this is Joe Cool Burr. Your borderline has nothing to do with your health, but in other words, you are at the very beginning stages of Aries. So that tells me it's not easy being you, because Aries is a sign of secret enemies, and your master number 22 is the number of, excuse me, Aries is a sign of open enemies because it's Mars quality. And then master number 22 is the number of secret enemies because of its visionary disposition. So I know it's not easy being you, my brother. Not at all. Not at all. So what it tells me is this, that this particular year, you're going through what is called a 7 personal year. Now, that means this year is about coasting. This year is not trying to make no deep impressions. Whenever you're in a 7 cycle year, that's when you kind of lay back. I know it's not easy for your sign and your number. Okay. I understand that. But it would be to your advantage to kind of lay back, take a wait and see, and don't tip your hand. Like cards, like people playing gambling at the cards would, hold them. You know what I'm saying? Um, that's the kind of year you're in. You're in a 7 personal year. So that means you are to search and discover rather than try to kind of like, you'll get your turn next year because 2025 adds up to a 9, which favors all Aries and Scorpios and Leos and people born on the 9th, 18th, or 27th. So you'll get your turn beginning as early as late September into October. But right now, this is a year to stop, look, and listen, begin to question, to go deep down the rabbit hole, to kind of discover, and also pay more attention to your dreams because some of them will be almost prophetic. Prophetic means in a way that you begin to say, you step out of a bus, off a bus, and say, "Wow, I remember dreaming this, man. This is crazy." But that's going to be the kind of year it's going to be for you. So don't chase because you happen to be in a cycle that governs what is called the law of attraction. So if you're thinking drama, that's exactly what you're going to attract this year, my friend. And who needs drama based on all the drama that's going on in the world right now anyway? So think success, you will draw success. Think finances, you will draw finances. So it's really, really simple because you happen to be in one of the easiest cycles. But the point is, we're so busy chasing and running after something. Well, in a 7 cycle, that's maybe because things are running away from you. So instead of chasing, just magnetize, reflect, and let go and let God, as the elders say. All righty. Okay. There's an error. Okay. Cindy, who made a donation, she said there's an error of 1985. Well, I was taking more the year that you were born more than anything. The month and day, not the year. That's something else if I'm looking for more about the destiny or life path or grade you are in the school of life. Okay. I read a person born on this birthday at the very top comment, and I did explain to them um, that this year for them is a year about being in an 8 cycle, a cycle to make major moves, a cycle to lay the foundation to things that will lead to finances, romance, things of the past. So, in fact, since you are in an 8 cycle that do romance, finance first, and romance, it means on the relating side, I would not be surprised if you don't read or recollect or reconnect with somebody from your past. You said you're still young and healthy. I can tell because you got a lot of youthful numbers in your name. In fact, you got out of 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 out of 13 of your letters in your name are falling in the youthful category. So that tells me either you don't look your age, feel your age, and that would explain why younger men would be approaching you. And yes, you're in an 8 personal year. So insight means you come of age, and it has nothing to do with the year you're born in, as so much as your state of mind of how you're thinking and dealing and looking at your life on, looking at your part, the part you're doing on life stage, so to speak. But this year is about some big, big major moves for you. Let there be no question about it. And so it all depends on how high you're going to set your sights and how you expect to meet your expectations. But normally with Leos, they are unstoppable. That's why they're one of the most dynamic signs in the zodiac. But then again, all your signs are very dynamic. It's just in what area of your dynamism that you're going to play. But every one of you from Aries to Pisces have a very unique role to play in the universe in the scheme of things. But Leos, they are standouts. I ain't going to front with that. Your key numbers. And then she's got 4 numbers too. Your numbers are the 2, 7, 1, and 4. And your best days are always on a Monday and a Sunday. All righty. Thank you. And Dustin, thank you for that. If possible, could you get a reading out of curiosity? Well, I will say this. This is April the 9th, and she's working toward becoming a law student. LP, I wonder what that means. A one name, April? I'm trying to get this off the top right quick. But I'll tell you this. This person is in a 3 personal year, Dustin. This person you're referring to. And that means since their numbers are the 9, 6, and 3, and they're in a personal year cycle that leads, that's matching one of their numbers, key numbers, this is a year where they begin to expand and not grow. And it's so interesting when you talk about law student because 3 rules legal matters, lawsuits, legal things of a legal nature. So in that way, perhaps this is very fitting. But I know this: a person of her word and don't play. That's it. But those are her numbers, and her best days are always on a Tuesday, a Thursday, and a Friday. All righty. So I'm going to take a couple more, and then I'll give you all a break. This is Barbara Larry, Gemini 3 person. So that means you're fun. I like to be the life of the party. People know you wherever it goes. That's why it's hard for you to sneak around. And this year, though, says you're in a year to reflect, to slow it down, to take it easy, to take it all in, because you happen to be in one of those law of attraction cycles too, which is the number 7. And so that simply means taking your time, not letting people throw you off your center, but more to begin to question why you do the things you do, why you're dealing with the people you're dealing, and why certain circumstances have been happening around your life lately. And you'll find that you will always be forever young. Romantically, you will definitely attract people from different cultures too. Ethnicity, people from different cultures, okay? I got tongue tied for a second, so I'm going to keep it simple. They will be from other cultures, other parts of the human family, other parts of the world. I'll put it like that. But very ambitious, though. Very, very ambitious. And it tells me you love to talk. That's for sure. But your lucky numbers are the 3, 6, and 5. And your best days are always on a Thursday, Friday, and a Wednesday. All righty. And let me just take one more. This is Ethan's dad. This is October 18th. You happen to be for this person in a 9 personal year. So the year favors Capricorns, Aquarians, then Libra, which is your sign. And so in a way, you're in third position, like win, place, or show in a horse race. You're in third position. But the fact that it's also matching your personal year of a 9, which means this is a good year for you to make conclusions, to bring things to a head, to say, okay, I need to wrap some things up and let it go and look behind me. And it also says, please, please stay away from anybody that want to fuss and fight and argue, man. This is not the year to get caught up into that. Say, listen, man, you better be glad I listened to Lloyd Strayhorn, because boy, I'd have put a hurt on you. I know you wouldn't do that, but you know what I'm saying, okay? And fender benders too. Be careful driving. And to my beautiful sister Maya, that's my girl. A Virgo 4 person born on the 13th of September. I am so, so blessed with all of you. I want to thank all of you very much. Oh, I will say, I just saw this. This is Rashida Turk. How the rest of the 24 will turn out. Well, first of all, we're only into the 3rd month, but I understand where you're coming from. You happen to be in a 6 personal year. 6 deals with relationships, deals with home, deals with family, deals with weight, deals with appearance, deal with education. In a 6 cycle, you're always a work in progress. I did name 3 doors for my guest who was a 6 also, which means that if you don't have somebody, you're likely to. If you do, it's likely to move to the next level. If you got somebody and it ain't been on the best of terms, it probably won't be on the best of terms by summertime. All right. But in this case, if you got to make some adjustment, this is the perfect time to do so. And you get along better with men. I ain't gonna front, Rashida. You know, Mom's maybe the famous comic once said the only thing a woman can do for her is bring her a man. That's you too. Okay. And you tend to be injury prone and you're a fighter too. And you're very, very direct with people. But this year says you got to make adjustments. This year you got to, and also go back to school. Get involved in some weight loss and exercise program, or, diet and things like that. But this is going to be, and especially with career, well, my dear, The beautiful part is that opens up for you in about another week and a half as you go into the month of April, which is also one of your months because your key months are February, April, August, and November. And in the month of April, you'll be in a one personal year because six, your personal year added to the fourth position month is a one. And Leo rules the number one, and your key numbers are the 9, 1, and 4. Anyway, I expect in about another week and a half will change the same time next week, going into the weekend. You should be hitting your stride. The only thing is there's going to be a couple of things going on. On the 1st of April, Mercury goes retrograde, which means a lot of confusions and misunderstandings. Then a week later on the 8th, there's going to be a solar eclipse. So there's going to be a lot of things. So it's going to be kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Real big and yet a real confusing at the same time. But all this is in the stars that you and I have no control over. But anyway, you definitely get along better with men than you do women. Okay. Anyway, so that's it. I ran my mouth more than I needed to, but this was fun. I really, really like this part of it. I can't read everybody, but I will read this person, Melissa, born April 13th. They are a fire sign with an air number, and they happen to be in a 7 personal year. So this is a year again, Melissa, because Aries is a very active sign, proactive about the things they want. 4, your birth number says you like to think outside the box. Yet, if you're going to do all of that, do that within, because you're in a 7th cycle. So that means things are internalized. This is why you begin to think more and question why you are with this person, why you're in this situation, whatnot. It makes you analyze things because that is the nature of a 7 anyway. They're analysts, researchers, investigators, detectives. They go deep down the rabbit hole. So that means going deep down about your life too. Your numbers are the 4, 1, and 9, and your best days are always on a Sunday and a Tuesday. And with that, everybody, I'm going to have to say thank you. But before I do, I need to tell you that the show was brought to you by. I'm going to work backwards. First of all, please sign up for the astrology course. Go to Mystic University. You can Google Mystic University. He will begin the course. He was on my show this past Monday. I think he might have frightened a little person between our conversation, but don't be frightened. There are always frightening times in the universe. But at the same time, if you listen carefully within that so-called alarming discussion we had was also hints and news of what to do too. So it all depends on how we listen and how we decipher the information, how it's interpreted, and how we can look forward to it going faster. But it can't be said he did not have the conversation. But sign up for Sun Signs and Beyond tomorrow, Thursday, on the 14th, beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Mystic University. Right there, the logo is at the center left, and that's my good buddy Dominic Holmes. The show is also sponsored by King Simon. I will be bringing up a new sponsor poster that he has next week because in April he's going to be having an event just taking place on the 13th and the 14th of April here in New York City. So that's going to be a must. In April, also, I'm going to have Jazz Aphrodite back on. She did not ask me. I'm having her on so y'all can see she's a woman that she's a Taurus. And if you knew that, if she says she's going to do something, she's going to do something. So please make sure that you tune in so you can see the book. Me, I've ordered already hardcover, softcover, and I might get another one for a family member too. But she sponsored the show, and I thank her. And also, saving the best for last, Manifest on Purpose, Miss Kimberly. You should go to a web. Her podcast is on YouTube. Manifest on Purpose, Kimbaley. And for people, by the way, Monday, as you know, I had on tonight, I had on Ashley Brown talking about women's hair. Well, Jay Ellis has, she's a beauty consultant and whatnot. So she's got an offer just for the men that you women. So if you women got a man, a brother, a husband, a son, an uncle, a nephew, a grandfather, father, well, she's going to have a very special offer that all of y'all can take advantage of on Monday. She's going to be my guest. Please sign up for the free monthly newsletter for March. It was delayed because I added another component at the last minute that threw it off. And the component is found on each, because each month now I do an interview on Manifest on Purpose. If you go there, you'll see I did the forecast for each of the zodiac signs for what you were going through for March. And what I took it upon myself with the newsletter you get, if you look at the bottom of each of your zodiac signs, you will see, if you click on descriptions, you will see there all of your signs are listed in a timestamp. So you can go to your sign right away. Because see, because of the newsletter, I can only put so much in it and be like a little like about 5 or 6 pages. So I can't do that. So what this allows me to do is kind of narrow it down in written word, but you get the full blown version in the spoken word. And so that time frame will help you do that. And just go to YouTube and click on March 2024 Astronumerology forecast by zodiac sign Lloyd Strayhorn, astronumerologist, and just click on the description. And then you go right there to your sign so you can get it's so all of this will now be included each and every month from this month on. And there will always be a link that takes you right to this location that will take you right to your perspective timestamp so you can see it. And for those of you, thank you so much for taking and signing up for the Star 8 app. There are some bugs, but excuse me, there are some bugs, but don't forget any that you have. And I did receive a couple of them. And what I do is I send them right off to a Star 8 LLC at gmail.com. So anything you got, like something's not working, I found something not working with mine, but now I see why every now and then these companies update to get out bugs and whatever the case is, such as technology. So that way it's there too. So that's a Star 8. And as my kid says, like they said, having daddy, but I'm saying having Lloyd in your back pocket. Okay. Anyway, I want to thank everybody very much. And I want to thank my guest. And also, I want to thank all of you for staying as long as you did. All of you, please, please have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves because I often say, if you don't, the question is, who will?